Good evening and many thanks for joining us. You're watching QTV Nightly News coming to you from our studios on Caraba Avenue. And here are the main news headlines. Giving evidence in the High Court, the boss of the company said to have imported the cough syrups which caused acute kidney injury and led to the deaths of more than 70 children, said his company followed all the regulations laid down by the regulator, the Medicines Control Agency. In a remarkable achievement, the Gambia has been ranked the fourth most peaceful country in Africa in the 2025 Global Peace Index published by the Institute for Economics and Peace. Lawmakers on Thursday had tabled before them a report on the $30 million petroleum deal following a joint inquiry by the Finance and Public Accounts Committee and the Public Enterprises Committee. And the National Assembly today received the Public Enterprises Committee's report on the activities and audited financial statements of state-owned enterprises for the year 2021. And in sports news, Spain-based Gambian athlete Tijan Keita says his dream is competing in the 2028 Olympic Games in Los Angeles, United States of America. For more on these and other stories coming up, I'm Ansumana Isonyase. And now here's the news in detail. At the High Court in Banjul, the managing director of Atlantic Pharmaceutical Company Limited, Ali Suman, on Thursday acknowledged his company's obligation to uphold safety standards in importing medicines amidst allegations that contaminated cough syrup imported by his firm led to the deaths of at least 70 children from acute kidney injury. More in this report, which is based on court reporting by Nicholas Bass of the Voice newspaper and narrated by Modu Gajaga.
Testifying before Justice Ibrahim Ajete at the High Court, Sohman revealed that the National Medicines Control Agency, or MCA, had approved the imported drugs. However, he said the agency did not assist in selecting the specific drugs from his Indian supplier, Maiden Pharmaceuticals. Sohman, the first defense witness, claimed over 30 years of experience in drug importation and insisted his company complied with all MCA regulations. Yet, when pressed on accountability, he distanced himself from the safety of the drugs, stating that responsibility lay with the regulator. Testifying as the second defense witness, MCA's acting executive director, Ensam Arena, defended the agency's processes. He explained that importers are required to submit proper documentation, including certificates of analysis, and that containers are inspected before release into the Gambian market. Marena confirmed that the documents submitted by Maiden Pharmaceuticals appeared authentic at the time, though he now suspects some may have been fraudulently produced. Meanwhile, the court also recorded that families of 19 deceased children have filed a civil lawsuit against Atlantic Pharmaceuticals, the MCA, the Ministry of Health, and others, accusing them of regulatory failures. The case continues next week at the Banjul High Court. Mamudu Gajaga, QTV News.
Now, in a remarkable achievement, the Gambia has been ranked the fourth most peaceful country in Africa in the 2025 Global Peace Index, published by the Institute for Economics and Peace. Here is our Bob for more.
The Institute for Economics and Peace is an independent, non-partisan, non-profit think tank committed to promoting peace as a practical and measurable foundation for human well-being and development. Institute Economic Peace advances this mission by creating innovative frameworks to define peace, developing tools to measure it, and exploring the links between peace, business, and prosperity. The organization also works to deepen understanding of the cultural, economic, and political drivers that foster peaceful societies. The ranking also underscores the Gambia's rising profile as a nation known for stability, safety, and peaceful coexistence within the African continent. The index, which accesses 163 countries using 23 key indicators such as safety and security, the intensity of domestic and international conflict, and levels of militarization, ranks the Gambia 55th globally in overall peace. Reacting to the achievement, the Gambia's Ministry of Information described it as a proud moment for the Gambia, adding that the ranking serves as a powerful testament to the resilience, unity, and peaceful spirit of the Gambian people in upholding and strengthening the peace that defines the nation. Mauritius retained its position as the most peaceful country in Africa, followed by Botswana in second place, Namibia in third, with Sierra Leone in fifth place. As the Gambia continues to make significant strides in governance, social cohesion, and national development, its strong showing in the 2025 Global Peace Index affirms the country's growing role as a beacon of peace and stability in the region, and reflects the collective efforts of its people and institutions to safeguard a future built on harmony and progress. For QTV News, I am Awabo.
Indeed, a proud moment for all Gambians. Now, on Thursday, lawmakers at the National Assembly had tabled before them the report of the Joint Parliamentary Inquiry by the Finance and the Public Accounts Committee and the Public Enterprises Committee into the controversial $30 million petroleum products deal. Usman Jatta tells us more.
2024, National Assembly members launched an investigation into the alleged illegal sale of over 30,000 metric tons of petroleum products valued at $30,000. After 9 months of detailed scrutiny and public hearings, the Assembly today received the long-awaited report from its Joint Committee on Finance and Public Accounts and Public Enterprises. Minority Leader Honorable Alaji S. Dabo, the NAM for Brikama North, who doubles as the chair of the FPAC, reads the report, unveiling months of rigorous investigation, bringing to light critical findings and hard-hitting recommendations.
The findings of this inquiry reveal grave institutional and regulatory failures, weak enforcement mechanisms, significant breaches of financial and corporate laws, and acts inconsistent with principles of transparency, accountability, and good governance.
The inquiry began following a motion tabled by Honorable Seni Jawara on 22 July 2024, which uncovered the arrival of over 30,000 metric tons of petroleum allegedly imported under questionable circumstances. Subsequent public hearings throughout August 2024 had testimony from key actors, including from officials of GAM Petroleum, the National Petroleum Company, the Gambia Revenue Authority, and from the Inspector General of Police. The report outlines alarming lapses, potential bribery, unexplained financial flows, and systemic tax evasion. The joint report recommends referral to law enforcement for the prosecution of individuals implicated, revision of imports oversight, and tighter regulatory controls, particularly around storage, valuation, and sale of petroleum imports. Honorable Alaji S. Dabo further reveals.
Defaulters and strike of companies that fail to comply within a stipulated period. 4. Establish an interagency compliance tax. For that includes the Registrar of Companies, the FIU, the GRA, and PURA. All new registrations and renewal should be subject to clearance from the relevant authorities. Non-cooperative actors within these institutions who acted in breach to regulatory breakdowns must be identified and reported for administrative.
Considering the detailed nature of the joint FPAC and PEC report, Speaker Fabakary Tombong Jatta adjourned the session till Monday 30th June 2025. Osman Jatta reporting for QTV News.
And we stay with our colleague there, Usman Jatta, as he reports again that the National Assembly today received the Public Enterprises Committee's report on the activities and audited financial statements of state-owned enterprises for the year 2021.
In a bid to promote transparency, accountability, and good governance and efficiency in public service delivery, the Public Enterprises Committee, PEC, conducted a comprehensive review of the financial statements and management of letters of 14 state-owned enterprises SOEs as constitutionally mandated. All 14 SOEs submitted their reports and appeared before the committee to present and defend their performance. Honorable Lamin J. Sane, the National Assembly member for Brikama South and chair of the PEC, presented the report on the activities and audited financial statements of the SOEs for the year ended 2021.
Several financial management issues were uncovered across the SOE. Common problems include outdated financial manual, poorly defined asset disposal policy, lack of time bank reconciliation, significant amount of uncollected receivables and accumulated unpaid staff loan, and understatement of liabilities.
The 14 SOEs reviewed include notable entities such as NAWEC, GAMTEL, Gambia Ports Authority, and the Social Security and Housing Finance Corporation. The committee's findings revealed mixed performances. While some SOEs showed resilience and contributed positively to national development, others continue to struggle with significant financial challenges such as high debt levels, poor liquidity, non-tax compliance, and governance weaknesses. These issues have undermined accountability and effective service delivery. Several lawmakers, including opposition members Yaya Menteng Sanyang, Latrikunda Sabiji, and Omar Jame Janjambure, provided their insights and raised concerns regarding the report's findings.
You could have recommend for them to be dismissed. If you want an accountant, you appoint an accountant who doesn't know what is your balance sheet. You recommended as the supreme oversight of that institution. But in your recommendation, you cannot tell us that they should be recommended to be dismissed with immediate effect. So that they are going to employ key people, they are going to employ key competence to come and man those institutions for the betterment of this country.
We really need to factor some of these things and ensure those, more especially personnel of some of these institutions that are owing these institutions and are not even with these institutions, to pay back the monies that they owe.
Here is the response of Honorable Lamin J. Sane, chair of the PEC committee, on the various concerns raised by NAMS.
And in our committee operation, we are still dealing with we started the 2022, which is not even completed. Some SOEs have problems because we need to understand, as mandated by the Auditor General, they outsource to the auditing firms to audit these SOEs, which sometimes there were a series of issues.
The committee's report also outlined critical recommendations, including enforcing stricter governance reforms, improving oversight mechanisms, modernizing management practices, and aligning SOE activities with national development priorities. Moreover, the committee cautioned against unchecked privatization of SOEs, urging the government to develop clear policies to safeguard national interest. Osman Jata reporting for QTV News.
And we're taking a short commercial break, but when we return, we'll hear about commemorations of the International Day Against Drug Abuse and Illicit Trafficking by the Gambia's Drug Law Enforcement Agency, as well as 2025 Day of the African Child activities led by students in the North Bank region.
fii mooy fan fii mooy INESA di place bi nga xam ne moom la ñëpp taaw place bii bépp xeetu ataaya bu baax rek bu dugg see ci dëkk bi xamal li fii rek la am bara wërga bii neex na lool saf na ba pare tamit nag am gu bu neex boo ko naanee rek da ngay kontaan ci saas añ ba suur ba gëreesal li nga lekk jëndal baara ataaya bii ndax moom la ñëpp taamu gis nga sama client bii ataaya bu neex bu ne moom laa koy njëkk a jox ndax moom kat ataaya bu neex rek lay wër baara wërga bii mooy warga bi gën te moo gën a saf kon nag ràññee leen ko bu baax kon daw leen gaaw ca Banjul foofu ca INESA di place bi nga xam ni foofu rek nga ko mën a amee wholesale wala retail mu ngi foofu ci boori court house bi foofu ca Banjul wala nga daw ci bépp marché bépp supermarket bépp boutique fépp foo dugg rek di nga mën a am baara warga bii nga xam ne moom la ñëpp di wër tey baara warga moo dàq ci warga yi man maa ngi ci moom ndax su ma maree ataaya moom rek lay naan.
Premium basalt, now back in stock. In an effort to support the rapid infrastructural development of the Gambia, GATCH is proud to announce that our premium quality basalt is now available at our depot in Saro, near Denton Bridge. Our basalt has been rigorously tested by both national and private laboratories in the Gambia and Cape Verde. ensuring top-tier quality for road constructions, concrete, and buildings. Sourced directly from our partner's own quarry in Cape Verde, we guarantee a steady and timely supply thanks to the short shipping distance. We have 03, 38, and 816 basalt in stock to meet all your project needs. Every order is weighed, so you receive exactly what you pay for. No guesswork, just precision. Visit us, Gatch Depot, Saro, near Denton Bridge. Or call us at 457-4048 or 533-2009.
Welcome back. Following the commercial break, we reminded you watching QTV Nightly News coming to you from our studios on Kairaba Avenue. Now, on Thursday, the Drug Law Enforcement Agency, the Gambia, commemorated International Day Against Drug Abuse and Illicit Trafficking under the theme, "The Evidence is Clear, Invest in Prevention and Break the Cycle." Mamna Bukar was at the event and this is her report.
World Drug Day, established by the United Nations in 1989 and observed annually on June 26th, aims to raise awareness about drugs as a global problem and promote effective measures to combat its abuse and trafficking. Globally, over 300 million people abuse and traffic drugs, with most users consuming cannabis, opioids, amphetamines, cocaine, and ecstasy. This widespread usage results in over 100,000 deaths each year. The Gambia, strategically located along drug trafficking routes, faces significant challenges in curbing the flow of illicit substances, which in turn prey on its youths and destroy their lives. From January to December 2024, the Drug Law Enforcement Agency seized over 3 tons of drugs, 54% of which were cannabis, and registered 1,208 drug cases. 1,219 people were involved, 1,014 of which were Gambians and 205 foreigners. This initiative, which on this occasion started with a march past from the Bakau roundabout to the President's International Award grounds, aims to underscore the urgency of addressing drug-related issues as a call to action to encourage all sectors of society to play a role in creating a drug-free environment. Here is Demba Sise, the Director General of the Drug Law Enforcement Agency.
We were able to, on the 11th of March 2025, lay a foundation stone for the construction of a correction and rehabilitation facility for drug-related psychosis. When it is completed in 3 months' time, it will be the first of its kind in this country.
Dr. Samba Fall, the chairman of the Drug Law Enforcement Agency Board, explains that without public support, it's hard for the Drug Law Enforcement Agency to curb drug-related crimes entirely.
Dealing alone cannot win the war on drugs. Law enforcement in general cannot curb crime without public involvement in the fight. We as individuals and communities also have a role to play to ensure that our communities are safe from drugs and crimes. As such, we must be willing to take the bull by the horn and stop the traditional masla syndrome by reporting suspicious activities and supporting law enforcement entities address them.
Pa Malik Sise is the Executive Director of the President's International Award and played a key role in the success of the event.
As young people and students, we have a greater responsibility and will advise you, let's completely stay away from drugs. Let us not be involved. If we are sent, let us refuse. If we are told, come and join me, let us refuse. Let's focus in our educations, let's focus in our works and completely do away from drugs.
The Drug Law Enforcement Agency, alongside its board and management, reaffirms its commitment to continue relentlessly working with relevant stakeholders and partners to ensure that they are provided with the right aptitude, skills, and resources required to execute their functions and mandate effectively. Mamna Buka, reporting for QTV News.
In commemoration of the Day of the African Child 2025 in Farafenye, students called on authorities to uphold the United Nations Charter on the rights of the child while also highlighting their own responsibilities to their communities and country. This story by Don Williams is narrated by our Bob.
Across Africa, June 16 is observed as the Day of the African Child, a moment to honor the resilience of children and reflect on the progress made in advancing their rights across the continent. Students from St. John's the Baptist Basic Cycle and Model Lower Basic Schools raise important appeals concerning the protection and promotion of children's rights in Africa. Here is Arabiatu Kamara, student of Model Lower Basic School.
As we celebrate this very important day, we children would like to appeal to our leaders of the world and Africa to respect the rights and protection of children. The Child Rights Charter was adopted in 1986 by United Nations to promote and protect children around the world. But is that really happening? If those that should help us are using guns, jet fighters and bombs?
At St. John's Basic Cycle School, student Justina Lailu expressed her gratitude to the government of the Gambia, the United Nations, UNICEF, the Organization of African Unity, Child Fund the Gambia, and other organizations for their continued support to children, both in the Gambia and across the continent. She reflected on the treatment of children over the years.
For over 60 years of the United Nations and UNICEF existence, they have been rectifying these legal documents to date, yet we are not given or having the protection we rightly deserve. Look around the African continent, how children are being treated. Where there were wars, such as Liberia, Sierra Leone, Somalia, Congo, South Sudan, etc. Here in our own committee, children are in racks, roaming the streets as beggars, day and night.
Here is David Williams, the school's head boy, addressing students on the 2025 theme, Justice for Africa through Reparations, be materialized sooner rather than later. He called on students to focus on children and our communities.
Strong community is crucial for a child's well-being and development, offering benefits like a sense of belonging, social skills, expanded understanding, access to resources, and opportunities for support.
As the Day of the African Child comes to a close, the voices of students across the Gambia serve as a powerful reminder that, while progress has been made, the journey to fully realize the rights of every African child continues. Their appeals, reflections, and gratitude call on all stakeholders to remain committed to building a future where every child is protected, empowered, and given the opportunity to thrive. For QTV News, I am our Bob.
And I'm afraid this is where we draw the curtains on this bulletin. But before we take a leave of you, here's a recap from main headlines. Giving evidence in the High Court, the boss of the company said to have imported the cough syrups, which caused acute kidney injury and led to the deaths of more than 70 children, said his company followed all the regulations laid down by the regulator, the Medicines Control Agency. In a remarkable achievement, the Gambia has been ranked the 4th most peaceful country in Africa in the 2025 Global Peace Index published by the Institute for Economics and Peace. Lawmakers on Thursday had tabled before them a report on the $30 million petroleum deal following a joint inquiry by the Finance and Public Accounts Committee and the Public Enterprises Committee. The National Assembly today received the Public Enterprises Committee's report on the activities and audited financial statements of state-owned enterprises for the year 2021. And that's all we have for you in this edition of the news. Do join us at 10 p.m. for another bulletin. Until then, thanks for watching.